Turning your hips slightly forwards, so your tailbone is pointing down towards the ground. And you can actually put your hands, and you see my hands, on your hips. There's a little dimple in the side of your hip. So the thumb goes in the dimple, and the hands come round the front of the round the front of the hips. And it's that area there which is where we're doing the movement when we move our legs from the hip. So it's so that when you've closed, you could hold a piece of paper in there. I think this is very sort of dreamy, because I don't think I could ever hold a piece of paper between my hip joint, in my hip joint. But that's the thought of that. When it's closed, you could hold a piece of paper in there, and then you open it. So just think about opening this area up like you're sat on a saddle, just feeling with your thumbs in your dimples and your hands around the front of that area of your hip where your creases are. So now relax that area, and then with your vertebrae, imagine that your vertebrae is nice like a pole, like a staff, but willowy, like a bamboo, you know, so there's plenty of flexibility in there. So it's actually stacked in a very open and relaxed way, stacked on top, and defies gravity. I think that's a nice idea. It's floating off towards the stars, and the crown of your head is the top of your body. So imagine all of that is released from the air and it's floating towards the sky. Brilliant. Okay, so now we're going to do a nice little, thinking of the hips today, we're going to be doing bringing the weight across, so you can feel that sinking down through that hip into the floor. And now looking at your knees should be over your toes. So we're going to bring the weight forwards onto the toe and then send the weight back into the heel. And how we're doing that is by moving the hip. So the knee is in line, there's no stress on the knee whatsoever. And we're moving the hip forwards and backwards. So you feel the weight change from front to back of the foot. Nice and easy, nice and slow. Feel that foot nicely relaxing into the floor, taking the weight with ease. Okay, bring into the toes, send the weight across the body to the other side. Looking down, you can see that your knee is above your toe. And we're going to draw that weight back into your heel by moving in the hip joint. And then pushing forwards, and then bringing back in the hip joint. There's no strain on the knee at all, knee is in alignment. Backwards and forwards, using the hip to move the weight. From heel to toe, and back again. Now we're going to change the weight from heel to heel, round to the toe, over to the toe. So now you can find that is actually a hip movement rather than a less defined sort of weight movement. It's all in the hips. And you can feel the movement in your hips with your thumbs in the dimple. And finish at the toe on this side. Now changing the weight back onto the toe on the other side, reversing the movement into the heels and back again. Nice slow circular movement, feeling the softness in your hips, feeling the movement in your hips. Top of the body remains upright at all times, nice and relaxed. Fabulous. Make you feel the difference in the movement by focusing your attention on your hip crease. Nice and relaxed. Okay, and finish there. Bringing in the weight into center. Now back onto this side. Empty leg can be lifted and moved back in. Shake the legs all the way from the hip joint. Getting the movement on the thigh. The flesh on the thigh. I feel like a butcher when I mention that, but it's all in the anatomy. Okay.